Homework. How to get good grades. Hi and welcome to VideoJug. When you begin secondary school and head towards your GCSEs, the amount of homework you are given will begin to increase. Sometimes it can seem like it's all a bit too much and a lot of students begin to feel the pressure. VideoJug have spoken to David Littlemore, Assistant Head Teacher at Whitton School in London, to share some tricks of the trade and to show you how to get good grades. Understand the task.
In order to get a good grade, you're going to have to make sure that you fully understand the task that you've got to do. Good idea is to definitely speak to the teacher who set it. If you've got any doubt at all, go and see them. Teacher's very, very happy to discuss a piece of homework that they've set. If you still feel, you're not quite understanding it, it's also a good idea to speak to a friend or someone who's in the class, because sometimes they will offer a different angle on it because they're your peer group, they're your age, they might understand it slightly differently to the teacher. And, usual, ask parents or people in the home, or somebody who might have done it before. So it's good to definitely speak to people, make sure you understand what you've got to do before you start it.
Work with a friend.
If you've got a difficult or long task to do, it's very helpful, beneficial to you to be working with a friend on it, because you can start dividing up the tasks involved. And then the best bit is the discussion at the end, where you pull it all together and you'll see that people have got different ideas on how it should go, and that in itself then generates the dialogue, and that's the learning.
Presentation.
I think a teacher, when looking at a piece of work, is quite impressed that if it's a serious project that you've been working on for a few weeks, that you've possibly bound it properly, you've put a nice cover on, you've put your name on it properly, you've made sure it's numbered. So the simple things really, but the detail makes the whole package look as though you've really put a lot of effort into it, 100%.
Double check.
It's very important to make sure that you double check your work before handing it in. A teacher wants to be able to find the answers, be able to understand what you've written. So it's a good idea to double check. It's a good idea to read it back, 2 or 3 times, and not be afraid to completely change sometimes the original response. Go back and think, I'm not happy with that, go with a gut feeling, change it. The other thing is get somebody else to read it, somebody, either a friend or get a parent to read it, but ask, mum or dad or whoever is at home just to read it in terms of the detail, not the actual content this time, but to say, can you just help me with the spelling, just check through the spelling, or does it read well, is that comma in the right place, etc. Does the flow of it go well?
Use model answers.
It's a very good idea to look at a good piece of work, because you'll be able to see how that person has constructed their answer for that particular question. From there you'll be able to pick up just certain techniques that they've used in answering their question, and then bring those over to your piece of work that you've got to do. It's a good way of seeing that there's not just one way how you do it, of responding in a particular way. There's lots of different ways of doing it, and therefore if this is a good way of doing it and this is an accepted way of doing it, then I'll try and adapt my own writing to suit that.
Read the marking.
Look at what a teacher has written about your piece of work and take their feedback very seriously, because what they're doing is they're offering you advice as to how to improve it. So any advice that you get, you have to then try and incorporate in for the next time that you go onto another piece of work. You need to remember the comments, or a good idea is sometimes just to make a note of them somewhere and refer back to them at a later date.
Done.